As ever, can I just get your latest thoughts then this evening on the state of the war?
I think it's situation no change really. It was significant. I thought that Zelensky went to Bakhmut and referenced Bakhmut when he went to Washington. That front holds, and things are really in that sort of stasis period when there aren't any major moves. That's not to say that things won't happen in the future, and that's really been the main focus, I think, this week of the warnings, both from senior Ukrainian figures, including Zaluzhny and Major General Andriy Kovalchuk, along
Mm.
with the Ukrainian Defense Minister Reznikov, that the Russians are accumulating mass and reserves again for a push potentially in February.
Yeah.
Now, you might not think the date is significant, and it really isn't, but the key thing from that is intelligence is there really to stop you having strategic surprises. So it's warning people about those strategic surprises. And it's that which has been uh, the message really of Zelensky that we need the tools to try and finish the job. But the worrying thing I think this week more so is the continuance of the energy attacks in mass.
Yes.
Now it's fine saying that 60 missiles, cruise missiles, were shot down out of 76 on the 16th of February, or that there were 23 which were fired at Kyiv on the 19th, of which 18 were shot down. But of course, if you can keep reattacking, which the Russians seem able to do, and you look at your battlefield damage assessment that you've done to the energy grid, and then you alter your weapons profile, which they obviously can do as well, you achieve what we look at the JPITL, the targeting profile. And if they can continue to do that in depth and scale, then that could erode the will of the Ukrainian people. And it's not me philosophizing on that. That was the message this week from Zaluzhny, saying that the civilians being in darkness could, for a long period of time, and we've still got probably 100 days of winter, could affect the morale of the troops at the front line.
Yeah.
And it's that which is important for the future. So I keep saying that total means multiplied by strength of will gives you your power of resistance. You
Mm.
need to keep up that strength of will to be successful.
So a huge amount depends on resisting and fending off the Russian air attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. And when President Zelensky was in Washington yesterday, both presidents, Biden and Zelensky, were making much of the supply of American Patriot missiles. In practical terms, Chip, how valuable will they be? Because I know it takes is it months to learn how to use Patriot missiles, and they're going to be delivered in fairly limited numbers.
Yeah, and it's the cumulative effect. So if we go back probably six to 8 weeks, there was a 5% degradation of the Ukrainian infrastructure. Then 3 weeks ago it was 30%, and at the moment it's 50% of energy consumption. And of course, it's that delta between the power deficit and the consumption, which is the main thing. Now, the Patriots will be effective against those missiles if Iran joins a sort of axis of evil and gives those Fatah 110 and Zalfaga missiles, ballistic missiles, which is a order of magnitude different than a cruise missile with a more limited sort of warhead, i.e. the mass of the ballistic missile would be more effective potentially, and the payload than a cruise missile. So it's still worrying on that sort of vector. So it's not good enough in a sense to say 80% have been knocked out of the sky of the cruise missiles that were launched. It's the 20% which get through that are effective, which have that cumulative effect. So we've got to keep on putting those missiles forward and supporting the Ukrainians with material means, as well as making sure that they can sustain the fight for the future. Because one of the things about the Russians is that they are, or seemingly, they are learning, and that is why there is a concern that the mobilisation could be fairly successful in the future. Now, again, I'm not saying that they're going to come from the Belarus front, and that could be the old Russian trick of Maskarovka, but it fixes forces who have to deal with a potential threat from the Belarus front. So that's also worrying for the future. What we can say with certainty is that there are going to be offensive operations from one or both of the sides sometime over this winter. It's where and when, which is the real question, and none of us know the detail of that.